Welcome back. I'm so glad you're here today to explore another story about wisdom from the East. Today's story is called The Garden of Kenji. Kenji was 65 years old. He was a retired school teacher living in a small town in Japan. He lived in a small town with his wife, and their lives were simple and peaceful. However, inside this seemingly tranquil life, Kenji harbored storms of worry. His son, who moved to Tokyo for work, recently lost his job and couldn't find a new one. His daughter, who was happily married just last year, had started having problems in her marriage. And to top it all off, his wife's health was becoming more and more delicate each day. As Kenji lay awake at night, his thoughts would race, imagining all sorts of worst-case scenarios for his family's future. He grappled with fears of failing his family, of his son being unable to find a job, of his daughter's unhappy marriage, and of his wife's declining health. These worries ate at him, making it difficult for him to sleep and enjoy his days. As the days turned into weeks, Kenji started noticing changes in himself. Looking at his reflection in the mirror, he saw deeper lines etched onto his face and dullness in his eyes, which he hadn't noticed before. He could feel the stress of his worries physically manifesting itself onto his body and stealing away his peace. One morning, Kenji woke up feeling unusually anxious. As he stood in front of the bathroom mirror, he looked at his reflection with a mix of confusion and sadness. Staring back at him was a stranger, an older stranger with tired eyes. "It's the stress," he whispered to himself. "It's stealing my years." Little did he know that this moment was a turning point, a moment that would lead him to an unexpected source of wisdom and tranquility. Later that day, Kenji's old friend Haru came to visit. Haru was also 65 years old, yet he seemed full of vigor and life. His eyes sparkled with cheerfulness, and he still had a light and easy step about him. As they sipped their tea, Kenji opened up to Haru, pouring out his worries and the changes he'd seen in himself. Haru listened patiently, sipping his tea, and when Kenji fell silent, he spoke in a calm, soothing voice. "Kenji, do you know why my garden stays green?" Kenji shook his head, puzzled by the question. Haru continued, "Because I don't fight the rain or the sun. I let them come, and I let them go. Just like the seasons, the happiness and troubles in life are temporary. The sun will shine again after the rain, and clouds will drift away. Stress is like the storm. You can't stop it, but you can choose not to carry it in your heart." Kenji appreciated Haru's words, but he couldn't help but reply, "Easier said than done." Haru smiled knowingly. "Then let us do it together," he said, extending an invitation for Kenji to visit his garden the following morning. "Maybe the flowers will teach you what I cannot." The next morning, Kenji found himself standing in Haru's garden, surrounded by vibrant flowers and lush greenery. As they worked side by side, tending to the garden, Kenji's mind did its best to circle back to his worries. However, slowly but surely, he began to notice the rhythm of his breath, the coolness of the earth beneath his fingertips, and the gentle touch of the morning sun on his face. After a while, he noticed that he wasn't thinking about his problems as much. For the first time in what felt like forever, his chest felt lighter, and he was filled with a sense of calm he had almost forgotten. Day after day, Kenji returned to Haru's garden. It became his daily ritual, a sanctuary where he could escape his worries and find solace in the beauty of nature. The garden was patient and persistent, silently teaching him valuable lessons. Kenji observed that the flowers bloomed even after enduring the harshest storms. The trees bent in the face of strong winds, yet they never broke. He learned that life, like the seasons, went through ups and downs. There were sunny days and rainy days. The trick was not to fight the rain, but to let it fall, knowing that it would eventually make way for the sun again. Meanwhile, back at home, Kenji's relationship with his family took on a new dynamic. He stopped pressuring his son, realizing that doing so wouldn't help him find a job. Instead, Kenji started offering words of encouragement and support. When his daughter came to visit, he no longer bombarded her with questions about her marriage. Instead, he made her favorite dishes, listened to her without judgment, and reminded her of her inner strength. As he navigated these new ways of interacting, he noticed something miraculous. He slept better at night, his mind no longer cluttered with worry. His laughter, which had been absent for so long, returned, and when he looked into the mirror, he saw a gentler, kinder face looking back at him. It wasn't that time had reversed, but that his heart no longer carried the burden of endless fear and worry. Then, one day, his son Kenta came to visit. Kenji knew that Kenta was going through a tough time, so he tried his best to prepare himself to be a good and supportive father. He made sure his face was free of worry, replacing it with a smile. He prepared Kenta's favorite meal and asked about his job search without probing too much. Kenta, however, remained tight-lipped about his job search, which worried Kenji even more. In fact, Kenji found himself slipping back into his old habits of worry and concern. "You're not eating," Kenji said to Kenta, noticing his son wasn't touching the food, "and you haven't told me anything about your job search. Are things really going well?" Kenta suddenly looked up, his eyes welling up with tears. "Dad, I'm sorry," he said, his voice cracking. "I've been hiding it from you because I thought you would scold me, but I actually got fired from my last job. I've been struggling to find a new one." Kenji saw the pain in his son's eyes and felt a pang of remorse for not being the father Kenta needed. He reached out and placed a hand on Kenta's shoulder. "Kenta," he said softly, "I trust you. I believe in you." Kenta looked up, surprised by his father's words. "But my job," he started. Kenji cut him off. "Life is heavy sometimes, but you don't have to carry it all at once. We'll figure it out together, you and Mum." Kenta threw his arms around his father, tears streaming down his face. In that moment, Kenji realized that he'd found something even more precious than the fountain of youth. He'd discovered the power of unconditional love, support, and trust within his family. From that day forward, Kenji's perspective on life completely transformed. His worries didn't vanish entirely, but now he had the strength and wisdom to navigate them. He learned that life was a journey with its share of ups and downs, and that the real secret to a long and healthy life lay not in avoiding problems, but in facing them with a calm and open heart, knowing that you're not alone. So what's the biggest lesson you learned from today's story? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to learn more about ancient wisdom, stay tuned. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.